Good day everyone, welcome again to my channel, and for today's task is to define the 12 different kinds of languages. So all you need to do is just listen. The said 12 different kinds of languages are the taboo language, swearing, jargon, catchphrases, slogans, graffiti, slang, quotations, archaisms, cliches, and vague words. So, we will define one by one. First is the taboo language. It is an item which people avoid using in polite society. They believe it is harmful or embarrassing or offensive. Society is sensitive to them. But there are two ways in avoiding taboo language. First is to replace it by more technical term commonly happens in medicine. Another way is to part spell the item. The taboo usage. Taboo words vary in their ability to be used as nouns, verbs, adjectives, and adverbs, or to form part of compounds. It is also difficult to define the tabooness. The usage display is already complex, but it is by no means complete because of the problems of keeping track of the way such forms are used among social dialects and subcultures. Next type of language is swearing. Swearing refers to the strongly emotive use of a taboo word or phrase. It is an outburst, an explosion which gives relief to surge of emotional energy. The function of this kind of language is to express a wide range of emotions. For example, from mild annoyance through strong frustration, to seething anger and not to make sense. Swearing has important social functions. It can mark social distance as when a group of youths display their contempt for social conventions by swearing loudly in public or writing obscene graffiti on walls. One of the psychologists' conclusion says swearing is a sign that a stressful situation is bearable and may be a factor in helping to reduce stress. Another one is jargon. Jargon is a loaded word, defined as neatly and neutrally. The technical vocabulary or idiom of a special activity or group. It is said to be a bad use of language, something to be avoided. There are the positive side of a jargon is that everyone used it. It is an essential part of the network of occupations and pursuits which make up society. All jobs present an element of jargon which workers learn as they develop their expertise. It is a jargon element who can promote economy and precision of expression and thus help make the life easier for the workers. While the negative side of a jargon is that by using jargon, people hide realities. It also can provide a lazy way into a group or an easy way of holding uncertainness and inadequacies. Next type of language is doublespeak. Doublespeak is a language which pretends to communicate but really does not. It, it is in the view of the, com, the, com, the, commit, the committee chair in 1973. But it is rather a language which makes the bad seem good, the negative seems positive, and unpleasant become attractive. It is a language which avoids or shifts responsibility variance with its real and its purposed meaning, a language which conceals or prevents thoughts. That is a doublespeak. Next is catchphrases. Catchphrases is simply a phrase which is so appealing that people take pleasure in using it. It is even possible for catchphrases to to be so useful that they become permanent additions to the language. So the clue is catchphrases is so useful. Next is slogans. Slogans used to describe the battle cry or rallying cry of a Scottish clan. It is to form a forceful, catchy, mind-grabbing utterance which will rally people. Next is graffiti. It is referred to a drawing or inscriptions scratched on an ancient wall, often to occasional in character responding to current events and preoccupations. Next is slang. According to American poet Carl Sandburg in 1878 to 1967, it is a language which takes off its coat, splits on its hands, and goes to work. It is a language of a highly colloquial type. It is also described as language of a low, vulgar type, and the special vocabulary or phraseology of a particular calling or profession. Next is quotations. It is a fragment of socially inbound language. It is a language which has been placed on a pedestal freely available for everyone, but really readily sensitive to abuse. It is an error which is called misquotation. Misquotation may not always be noticed, but if it is, there is a real risk of peer group decision. Quotations useful to distinguish in catchphrases. Catchphrases are indeed a species of quotations, but there is a difference. Catchphrases tend to be of spoken origin, very short, subject to variation, relatively trivial in subject matter, and popular for only a short period. But quotations tend to be a written origin, intermediate of length, highly restricted in the contexts where they may be used, semantically more profound and capable of standing the test of time. Next is archaism. Archaisms is a feature of an older state of the language, which continues to be used while retaining the aura of its past. It is used in many historical novels, plays, poems, and films such as King Arthur and Robin Hood. Archaisms can be found in religious and legal settings in survey rhymes, in fairy tales, commercial advertising, and trade names. Next is cliché. Cliché emerge when expressions outline their usefulness as conveyors of information. But why do clichés receives bad press? According to critics, it is because it is the cliché user who is the zombie. To use expressions which have been largely emptied of meaning implies that the user is someone who cannot be bothered to be fresh, clear, careful, or precise, or possibly someone who wishes to avoid clarity and precision. But clichés have defenders who point out that many of the expressions cited as clichés have a value. Their value is precisely the ability to express what the critics condemn. No one would be satisfied with clichés. when we expect something better from a speaker or a writer. Remember that. And lastly is vogue words. Vogue words are lexims which take on a fashionable or cult status within the language as a whole or among the members of a particular group. They are similar in many ways to catchphrases, which is called vogue phrases. But the difference is that vogue words usually lack of the specific sources which can be found for most catchphrases. Vogue words do not suddenly appear but grow gradually and unobtrusively. To become a vogue word, something extra has to happen. A word has to be taken up and used with extra frequency by large numbers of people and must be extended to contexts beyond the one which originally gave rise to it. And that's the last part of the, the 12 types of languages. We are done reading the definition of different languages one by one. So, see you again in the next videos.